Hello everybody, I am Technovoid, your host and high school physics teacher, and with me is Hamsterwings, your favorite Pokemon analyst. We are here with, I don't even know what to call this video, I guess it's the Season 5 review? That's what this is, sort of.
Season 5 recap.
It's the recap of the entire season. How are you doing? Have you learned your times tables? Do you remember centripetal force?
Yeah, I know 12 times 12 is 144, but not because of my high school physics teacher. That was like 3rd grade.
I see, I have taught you well. See, as a high school physics teacher, I am going to take credit for everything you've learned.
That's fair.
Alright, so let's get straight into it. So to start off with this week, we are going to be going over the awards, just very briefly talking about who won and why they won to some degree. A lot of you probably already know, but for those of you who haven't watched all the matches, let's start off here with the carry. So the carry is basically, it's the Pokemon that it came a lot of the time. It was sort of the core of the team. It, ended up being the reason this person won a lot of matches. And in this case, it is Darkrai, which did win a lot of matches. Egg is in 2nd place in Quick Ball.
Yeah, close race between Darkrai and Suicune, and both of those were probably the ones I thought were going to win the most.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I don't know if I would say necessarily either of these was the backbone of the team. Like, I think there's a lot of other Pokemon here, like Landorus, Therian, Incineroar, that acted a lot more as like the actual backbone, but I think both Darkrai and Suicune here, were very threatening. They ended up getting a lot of the most important kills, and in Darkrai's case, I think it was very, very strong in that it acted both as a huge kill threat and also a huge disruptor. Like, for example, 1st place in Quick Ball it's OJ, and Egg ended up beating OJ with just the spamming of the Dark Voids.
Yeah.
So it really worked out. So I think Darkrai works here. Do you have any other thoughts on this?
I think Landorus is definitely up there. I think it got a little shortchanged, but Suicune and Darkrai does make sense.
Yeah. I think Peanut, and we'll talk more about this in a bit, but I think Peanut really did a really good job team building, and I think Lando, unlike last season where we sort of saw Lando sort of falter a little bit because the team wasn't built to make it like do really, really well, I think this season Peanut did an absolutely fantastic job of giving Lando a place to shine.
Yeah.
But then let's move on into the Executioner. This is the Pokemon got the most kills usually. In a few cases, it wasn't actually the Pokemon with the most kills, but it was the most threatening thing on the field. This thing comes out, you're like, ah, crap. If I don't get rid of this thing, it's just gonna get like 4 kills. And unsurprisingly, Azumarill wins this one.
Yeah. A lot of people have asked me why this isn't a B tier. Here you go.
Here you go. This is why Azumarill isn't a B tier. It can pop off if it's not taken care of. It just huge power is strong. It doesn't need a belly drum. In fact, a huge part of my loss against Lazadin this season was I expected it would need to have to set up a belly drum to like really threaten Okos on my Mons. It didn't. It just didn't, and I was wrong, and I paid for it dearly. Azumarill was the overall kill leader of the entire season, so it is not surprising to see it up here. Any other thoughts on the Executioner?
Not particularly. It's good to see Spectrier up here too.
Yeah.
I feel like Rayquaza got a little shortchanged maybe, and Kirim White, but
yeah, Ray ended up actually. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, ultimately in the whole scope of the season, it was very clearly Azumarill.
Azumarill, yeah. Ray, I totally agree with you. I think Ray, despite being very threatening, I think in prep and like in the matches when it came out, its final results didn't necessarily like paint the picture of the Executioner, because I think it went 4-4, so a lot of people who didn't necessarily watch all the matches, look at that 4-4 and they think, okay, well this thing was, it just did all right. But despite that, I actually think Whiskey used Ray quite well, and I think it did what it needed to do. It was out when it needed to be out, and it threatened and killed the things that it needed to. So despite that, I actually think it was very strong.
Yeah, I agree.
Moving into the Bastion, this is my first award win since Clefable back in Season 2. Let's go, Aloma Lomoma time. Keeping it real since 1963.
Yeah, I mean, It was the unbreakable wall of your team. There were several matches where it's like, okay, I've killed everything else. 10 more turns, Alomola will maybe die.
I mean, this is unsurprising, but between Wish, between Regenerator, between that ridiculous HP stat, Alomola actually really surprised me. This is a Pokemon that I've wanted to use for quite some time. It's actually a Pokemon I wanted to do a TDD, what do we call them? Spotlight on. Ended up not doing that. Ended up using it as per your suggestion, and it exceeded all my expectations. I was super happy with it. Couple of backups here. I think both of those Galarian slow guys were quite decent.
Yeah.
Honestly, anything like Vaporeon or Suicune, anything that just managed to get a bunch of kills just by virtue of being out on the field so often,
yeah,
I think was very, very good for this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Moving into the Comrade. What's your thoughts?
Weather Setters have won this in the past for sure, but I mean, Hippowdon this season did a lot more than just set weather.
How so?
It was a good support for the team. It had, I mean, longevity. It dealt damage. It set stuff up. I understand Hippowdon winning.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. I just wanted your expert opinion on that. That being said, very unsurprising to see Incineroar take second place.
Yeah.
Very, very unsurprising. Mega Scizor, honestly, yeah. kind of big on third. This one, I think this sort of lineup makes like total sense. Just going down Hippowdon, Incineroar, Scizor, Whimsicott, Pelipper, Blastoise. I think that is very indicative of how this season went.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then we get to the Cleric, which
Comfy always wins.
is unsurprising. The Pokemon with the triage is gonna take it. Audino, Alomomola, and Mega Audino actually kind of making a name for themselves here with 5 votes each, but I almost guarantee that anyone who voted for anything else, the only reason they have these many votes is because people voted for 2 things. And I think one of them was Comfy. Always Comfy. There were only 2 people who didn't vote for Comfy.
Yeah.
So, unsurprising here, not too much to talk about. Hey, if you ever want to win an award, just draft Comfy. You're guaranteed to get the Cleric.
Yeah, pretty much.
Next up, we have the Disruptor. So we have Darkrai coming back here for a 2 for 2 awards in one season. How nice.
This one's pretty
third.
close.
Yeah. The Disruptor in a lot of situations came down to, with both Lando and Incin, we both see that very, very strong Intimidate support. Grimmsnarl's obviously, Grimmsnarl and Smeargle both taking, 4th? I think makes a lot of sense. Alomomola doing better than I thought it would, mainly just, I think, because of those Rocky helmets. But then we have to look at that Mega Bayonet taking 3rd right now. How do you feel about Mega Bayonet? How do you... I know when we first did the, overview stream for this season, you're like, I don't even know if I'm ever going to use Mega Bayonet. And then looking at the final results, it, I think, probably did less than you were hoping. But I feel like you maybe had some good times with it.
Oh, I think my team was just not very good. They just didn't synergize really.
Uh-huh.
Which was surprising to me after the B tier core that I had, but oh well.
Mm-hmm.
But Mega Manette is a fun Pokemon.
Is it? Okay.
Not necessarily great, but it can do a lot of things. Landorus and Incin tying makes a lot of sense.
they were the same Pokemon to some degree.
Yeah.
Yep, and then Darkrai winning, honestly, in a lot of reasons for those Dark Voids. Egg managed to put a fair number of things to sleep.
Yeah, that's true.
Alrighty then, moving on to the Wild Card. So this is the Pokemon that basically you didn't really know what it was going to do when it came every week. And to that end, I think Mew makes a lot of sense here. It has one of the most versatile Pokemon movesets.
Yep.
And props to PLKJ here. I think PLKJ has used Mew quite well compared to a lot of previous seasons how it's been used. He did not fall into that trap of option paralysis. He did not fall into that trap of sort of wanting to make it a support when he really needed an offensive core. And I think he's good for that. I am annoyed anytime somebody says, wow, this is the first time somebody's used Mew effectively, because I totally fucking did, and everyone forgets, but that's fine. How do we feel about everything after first?
I think Arcanine really made a lot of sense as the wild card as well. Like, not as much as Mew. But...
yeah. It had a surprising array of movesets.
Yeah.
I did not expect Arcanine to be as versatile as it was, but after seeing this season,
it's a great B tier.
Yeah, it really, I mean, it used, up until this season, it was A tier.
Yeah.
It only moved down because it really was just getting pushed out of the meta completely by Incineroar. Alrighty. Next up we have the wild card again. Now we have the secret weapon.
Why was the wild card
I opened up the tab twice. I don't know. But in this one, we actually have a very extremely close race here. We have a 5-way tie for second between Audino, Nidoqueen, Wartortle, Hippopotas, bro, and Tentacruel. I think all 5 of these Pokemon definitely sort of deserve the spot. I think they were all used very effectively in the matches they came. I think to some degree Shuckle gets the win here for the style points. I think the one time Shuckle was brought, it did its job so effectively. And again, I think that was the match that Egg won against OJ, which, you know, OJ, the sort of the champ of Quick Ball this season, just absolutely taking over. But Egg not letting him do that with the Shuckle.
Yeah.
Really getting up, you know, several layers of hazards, and then really making extremely good use of what's the move called? Is it Memento? Was it Memento or is it something else?
Final Gambit.
Final Gambit, thank you, yeah.
That's the one Shuckle gets.
Yeah, just making very, very good use of a self KO move there into a double down. Shuckle was really pivotal in that match, so I get it. I get why this was a true pocket pick, because it was. Shuckle is not something that you would normally see used that effectively. We did see it used pretty effectively in Season 2 once. But it's just kind of one of those Pokemon that we warned Egg about this before the season started, like, hey, please make sure you use Shuckle in the way Shuckle is meant to be used, and he fucking did.
Yeah.
He fucking did. Good for you, Egg. This is Egg's
kind of dominating the rewards right now.
4th award for Egg. And then, holy shit.
Yeah, landslide.
Landslide for Melmetal here. So this is pretty clearly in reference to the Technovoid versus Diggory match, where Melmetal used Z Solar Beam against a Rain team to one-shot Mega Swampert, which normally it does not threaten at all. I need to give credit where credit is due. That was your idea.
It was, but you pulled the trigger.
I pulled the trigger. I went with it. I thought it was hilarious. I set up the match to go that way. I think this one is just one that is gonna stick with people, because I don't think really anybody expected it, including Diggory.
Well, he did say as soon as he saw the Z move glow, he was like, "Oh, I know what's happening."
Yeah, which is pretty funny. But chat kind of popped off, so I think well deserved. And this is, dude, I've gotten 1 award in 4 seasons, and now I'm basking in the glow of 2 at once. Let's go, hopping straight into the miracle. My fucking boy. Kappa Raja taking first for the miracle. This is a poggers moment, excuse my French. Vaporeon coming in a close second here, I think makes a lot of sense. That being said, I think Vaporeon is, I don't know how to phrase this, it's already known to be a pretty good C tier. Like, I think people already look at Vaporeon and don't necessarily realize that it's C. I think some people might think it's B, or, you know, I think people already expect a fair amount of it, because most of the evolutions are pretty solid.
Most of them. Yeah.
At least a fair bit of them, minus, like, Flareon and Jolteon.
Even Jolteon's, like, okay.
Okay, and, like, Leafeon and Glaceon, but, like, Sylveon, Espeon...
Hey, don't sleep on Leafeon.
This is true, you showed us. That being said, I think Leafeon is very solidly C tier. I think Vaporeon is one of the ones that sort of teeters on the edge between B and C. Kappa Raja, though, is a Pokemon that I loved. It's so glad to see Post using it. I remember when Post was, looking for a steel type to round out his cores either in B or C. I saw Caparaja was still on the table. I'm like, Post, I highly recommend this. I think Post is very happy with that pick.
If you get through your B tiers and you are looking at your cores and you're like, crap, I forgot a steel type, Caparaja is now your priority #1 draft.
There are really so few good steel types in C tier. There really are. I mean, your options are like Cling Clang, which is kind of mediocre. Registeel, which is, pretty good at what it does, but doesn't offer much offensive pressure in the way of stab. And then there's Caparaja, and Caparaja's... I mean, there's fucking Berserker, if you want that, but don't.
I mean, I feel like the only other notable one is Durant, but Durant is not a steel type in the way that you want a steel type.
Exactly. Durant is very dangerous to use.
Yeah.
So hype on Caparaja there. And then finally, we got the flop. This one, kind of a toss-up. Hatterene ends up pulling out here at the end. Unsurprising. It really did not get a chance to do much of anything this season, which is kind of huge as a high-priority A tier. Hatterene we have seen some success from before, when Meteor Bower ran it in his Fairy type gym team. It absolutely crushed Skulls, and it was awesome. And even when Chimichango ran it back in Season 3, it ended up, I think, going 4-4, which is, a pretty solid score, going completely even, getting a fair number of kills. That was pretty good. Unfortunately, Hatterene this season just absolutely kind of beefed it. That being said, we have Regieleki in second, and then...
Makes sense.
Yeah, and then we have Moltres, and then Dracozolt and Jirachi. Dracozolt and Jirachi, I don't necessarily think flopped. I think they performed less well than they could have.
Yeah.
I think Hatterene and Regieleki, and I'm also going to say Moltres Galar really just did not meet standards of what they should be doing as a minimum.
At least Regieleki had one good game.
At least. I cannot say the same for Moltres. I fucked that one up. Every single time Moltres came out, just fucking eat shit and die. Oh boy. Alrighty,
Yeah,
so that
my team wasn't suited for Regieleki.
This is fair. Alright, so that is gonna be all of the awards. I really had to pull that sentence out for a really long time because I forgot the word awards. Let's take a few minutes to just talk about all these teams. So starting off here with PocketWizards with PLKJ. This is PLKJ's, I believe, first season back since season 2?
No, he did 3.
Did he do 3?
I think.
I thought he stopped after 2.
I don't remember.
Anyways, PLKJ has returned to us after some time away. He has still been playing in the off seasons generally. This is his first season back. In the quick ball, doing all right for himself in the quick ball. 4 wins, 3 losses. I think he had a very, very good core. I think, as we already mentioned, very, very good use of Mew. I think Mawile and Como covered for each other very well. And solid use of Jellicent and Mandibuzz as well. That being said, anything below Mandibuzz on this list, I was less impressed by.
I was shocked how little we saw
Magmortar. That's the main thing I'm thinking of. It was huge. You had forgotten that he had even drafted Magmortar.
Yeah.
Because that Pokemon is quite good. I guess it just didn't fit in here with the team, but I still feel like it did.
I feel like it enabled a lot of kills for Mawile and Como.
Yeah.
And even Mew.
Yeah, for sure. But that being said, Mew doing very well here, and then I think
did great.
I think the sort of the top 5 core, as we can see here on the roster, all perform pretty admirably.
Even Credilli to some degree.
Yeah, no, I think Credilli, it did have a few situations where it didn't always do what it needed to, but I think it was reliable enough. Yeah. Just pretty even all around the board, I think, for PLKJ. A couple of good wins, couple of losses here, and I don't have much else to say.
Yeah,
so
that's about all I got.
Let's move on to Poké Monsoon. Very unfortunate season for Diggory here.
Yeah, he definitely pulled out some wins at the end,
yes,
but he really didn't have a team that he wanted to work with.
Yeah. Yeah, good
But
for him on the back half, not letting it get to him too much. But
at the very least, he knew that this wasn't his style and knows not to build like this in the future.
absolutely.
But I mean, I don't think he wanted to now even.
This is very fair. I do agree with you. I think he, valuable lesson learned here about, some of the Pokemon just you don't like to use. And Diggory ends up having one of these seasons, it seems every other season. Season 3 was similar. We're just not really feeling the playstyle here. Truly unfortunate how much he got sniped in draft this time, which probably led to this sort of low season he had.
I was going to say selling your soul to Pelipper, but that works.
Hey, the Pelipper he sold the soul didn't end up panning out too well for him.
Yeah.
So, I guess divine retribution on that front. Honestly though, I mean, I know Diggory loves Dragapult. His Season 3 team was in a lot of ways based around Dragapult, and Dragapult ended up being his MVP here, so things could have been worse. And he pulled out some very stylish wins, especially I think, not to rub it in, I think he pulled out a very stylish win against you.
Yeah,
with the Audino. I think he played very well that match, and he pulled it out, and against me as well. So I don't know that there's any advice we can offer, Diggory. I just think he knows what he's doing, and this is just another learning experience of,
I guess the one piece of advice is draft Finny first.
Draft Finny first, yes. Yeah, the Grimmsnarl, despite doing very well on this team, ended up sort of being the downfall because of how early it was drafted. Alrighty, moving on into... Dude, this guy has improved so much since his debut in Season 3.
Yeah, this season was an incredible showing for Mojo.
For anybody who is watching this that is new to TDD and, has not been winning many games because, they're new, they're not familiar with competitive, anything of that, please, please, please look at OJ as a shining example of what is possible if and when you learn what you vibe with and how to play the game, very well. OJ's first season in TDD, he, I think, went on the opposite of undefeated. What's that called? Unwinning? He only lost. But he stuck with it. He was, trying stuff out in the off seasons. He came back in Season 4. A fair bit of marked improvement, again, and then just coming back here, really building out this team that's just working so well for him. I mean, his top 3 Pokemon are all in the top 10. Rotom, Venusaur, and Finny, all making top 10 slots, absolutely killing it, only losing one match this season to Eggpling, to that Shuckle Darkrai nonsense we discussed.
Yeah. I mean, just great job.
Yeah, mad props to OJ. Just really impressive to see how far you've come from your Season 3 debut. It is wild. I totally see that you know what to draft, and I can say it because you've already said it. Play lane, win games.
Yeah.
This team is pretty freaking toxic, but hey, we take those.
Yeah,
we take those. Alright, moving into the saddest story of this season, we have to talk about Peanut Scratch's HonsePunchers.
Yeah.
This is heartbreaking.
This is his greatest showing by far. He was the hero that everyone needed, and then it all fell apart.
He was the hero we all needed. He was not the hero we deserved, unfortunately. Peanut Scratch had the first place, undebatably first place throughout the entire season between weeks 2 to 6. And unfortunately, his last 2 weeks he had a subpar showing, which dropped him all the way to 5th because the main people he was contending with ended up winning their games, which meant that basically he ended up dropping really, really hard from 1st all the way to 5th, losing his playoff slot, which is really, really sad because he really deserved this. His team was so well put together. His play was unlike anything we've seen before from him. And just, even though you didn't make it to playoffs, Peanut, just, you're my hero. This was beautiful. I had tears in my eyes watching your matches, especially when you fought against me with all that fucking burning and intimidating. I had tears in my eyes for a slightly different reason, though.
Yeah. Advice: do this again, but without Walrein.
And Colossal.
Yeah, he never showed up.
He never showed up. No, I think Peanut has a much, much better idea. I think this is one of those scenarios where it's like, you know, with every team, you're like, oh, you figure out what works, you figure out what doesn't. I think this is very much a scenario of, I think to some degree he definitely built this team intentionally, but I don't think he realized, I know I didn't realize just how effective this group would be together.
Yeah.
And I think he took the, how do you say it, he took what was on the paper that worked together well, and it looked like it did well, and then it came in practice, and just, there was a click, and there was a feel for it, and I hope that Peanut ends up doing this again, really taking, you know, that understanding of how synergistic certain cores can be, and just absolutely obliterating a future season.
Yeah.
Season 6, Peanut Scratch Champion. It's gonna happen.
I'm ready
Calling
for
it here. Okay, well, we'll see. We shall see. Speaking of people in Timer Ball that have absolutely proved the fuck out of themselves, though, can we talk about Post Structure here?
Yeah.
Insane work from Post Structure. This was Post's first season in Timer Ball. Up until now, he had been playing in Quick Ball. Last season, he did make it to finals, and he ended up losing the finals to you 2-1. And after that, you know, looking at his games, it's like Post has improved a lot. You know, we made him a gym leader in the previous offseason. He did, I don't remember how good his score was there, but I feel like it was decent. He held his own. And it is, I am losing power. That's fine. That's great.
Yeah, it's thunderstorming here too.
And this season, I think it all came together. I know one of Post's big things this season was he wanted to prove that, you know, he can stand, you know, with the Timer Ball folks, and he proved that without a doubt. Guy is going into playoffs, second place. Just only person he's behind is Meteor Bauer, who is well known to be one of the strongest players in our not division. What's the word I'm looking for? League. Thank you. So just absolutely great job here. Strong core. I know that he was going for something a little bit different, wanted to draft a psychic fighting dark core, and I think that worked okay for him, but I honestly just think less so the synergy of the Mons, and more so just choosing Mons that he grew very comfortable with over the course of the season.
Yeah.
Unsurprising to see Drampa and Dusclops where they are, Drampa having never come, Dusclops having not done super well, because those are Pokemon that I think were sort of him trying to round out his bases, when in fact the other stuff here is stuff that works for him. Togekiss is something we've seen him use in the past, Mega Blastoise is something we know he's very comfortable with, and then just really great chunks from Copperajah, Vileplume, and Zamazenta. So, Post, you have done it. You have absolutely proven yourself. God Gamer, really looking forward to playoffs.
Yeah. Good
Alrighty.
luck.
Any advice moving forward for Post Structure?
I think Post is at the point where he can just follow his heart and draft with his heart, and it'll work.
Draft with your heart, Post. We believe in you. Speaking of drafting with your heart, oh, this is you. Never mind. Go ahead. That was kind of mean. I was actually gonna do the opposite. I was gonna make a joke. I was gonna say, because the next one I thought was ban Incineroar, and I was gonna be like more like drafting with your fart, because Incineroar sucks. But no, it's actually you. So, yes, please tell me about this team and what didn't work.
I don't know. I just kind of drafted Mons that I wanted to use without really considering how well they work together and assuming it would be fine.
So basically what you're telling me is you drafted with your heart and it didn't pan out.
No, I drafted carelessly.
I
would
see.
say.
I see. Okay. Yeah, unfortunate, kind of, you know, I don't know. I don't know what to say.
I don't think it was, like, the worst in terms of how it turned out.
Yeah.
I think...
I mean, I think this has been...
this is how it should have gone.
Yeah. I think this was definitely your weakest season thus far. You have always proven to be an immense threat in our league, and this was sort of you've been champion twice. You get a break.
Yeah, I mean, I came into this season with a bit of burnout. Not gonna lie,
Yeah, which is completely understandable. You get one season where you don't have to go to playoffs and rep us content boys.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yes. That being said, actually, I just want to note here. I know generally how you feel about redrafting Pokemon. You're generally not a huge fan, but you did bring Blastoise back.
Yeah.
So I want to hear about that. What was the thought process behind going back to Blastoise?
I just kind of needed a bulky water with Follow Me, so I picked Blastoise.
That's what it comes down to. Fantastic. And then I do want to ask again with Mega Bayonet. Is Mega Bayonet a Pokemon that you would consider using again in the future, despite how it did this season?
I think so.
You liked it enough? Because I know going into this you were not sold on it.
No, I think there's something there. I think it's obviously a C tier, but
yes.
I think there's something there to have fun with.
Okay. All right. That's great to hear. Well, we're going to take a break, and then we'll be back with Gen 9, and you're going to kill it again. Season 6, Hamsterwings is going to be the champion, just like both 2 champions next season. It's confirmed.
Oh. We're just going to tie?
Just half of these teams, I'm just going to say they're the champion. Moving on into Ban Incineroar. Just right off the bat, it is worth noting, Lazarin did have a pretty tough schedule this season towards the back half. I think it speaks to the power of his team that despite how busy he was, how difficult it was for him to sort of plan and prepare for matches, that he still did as well as he did and made it to playoffs.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, Rillaboom, Azumarill, Incineroar is an absolutely fucking insane core. We all knew it would be. That being said, I don't think any of the Pokemon that he drafted are going to be moving tiers. I cannot see that happening. I think Azumarill and Incineroar and Rillaboom all very much proved themselves, but
it's always hard with Incineroar, especially with Landorus being S and Incineroar being A.
Yeah.
It's always hard to justify where Incineroar should go.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm still on the fence about it because I think it is the best A tier.
Yes, for sure.
But
the way
should it be S? I don't know.
I don't want to turn this into a tiering conversation, but at least from where I'm standing, the way I see it is Incineroar has absolutely proven itself as an incredibly pivotal pick. I have yet to see it perform so well in any one season that it would justify a tier raise for me. I think it has been performing very admirably as an A tier, and I'm sure if it was S tier, people would still draft it, but I just don't see any particular performance from it sort of justifying the need to move up. Like we've seen in the past with Mega Venusaur in B tier and with Mega Metagross in S tier, we've seen from consistent seasons across several seasons this Pokemon just overperforming. I don't necessarily know we've seen that from Incin.
Yeah.
That's sort of where I stand.
It's something to think about.
It's certainly on the table. If anything were to move up from A to S, it would most likely be this.
Gen 9 could just ruin everything, and then Incineroar is like a D tier.
I highly doubt that.
Me too, but it could happen.
I suppose. Looking forward to Mr. Rhyme becoming banned next season. Season 6, Mr. Rhyme is the champion. Let's go. Moving into my team. I think a big downfall for me here was, to some degree, it was my top core. It was my SAA. I made the mistake of going pure physical, and it bit me in the ass super hard. I don't recommend doing that. Lesson learned. I think, in terms of the playstyle, I do like this playstyle. I do like the bulky offense. I was able to... Yeah. I don't want to say pretty successfully. I don't think I was successful with much this season. But at the very least, I think I was able to, both flex into Trick Room and flex into Tailwind. But I think it just came down to too many...
I think I also contributed to your failures by giving you advice when I was burnt out myself.
Hey, to be fair, the Pokemon you gave me the most advice on are Pokemon that absolutely killed it. Salazzle and Alomomola.
But also Bulu.
Bulu was sort of an issue, yeah, admittedly.
Yeah.
I don't think Bulu fit this team. I think the idea of grassy terrain was very nice, and it definitely helped. That being said, I probably wouldn't draft Bulu again. I really expected more from Moltres. Moltres is a Pokemon I had been planning to use since last season ended. Ever since Season 4 ended, Moltres Scalar has been on my radar of this is something I definitely want to draft next season, and I'm just very disappointed in how that panned out.
Yeah.
But hey.
It's very, very comp dependent.
That is very true. So, moving forward for me, can you give me some advice? I need some advice.
Honestly, play lamer. But also not.
Fair enough.
I don't know. I'll give you actual advice when we're just talking.
True. No, I will say, I think I found the playstyle I like the most, and it's just a matter of getting better at that team building, because I think I found my niche, I think I found my preferences, and I just need to actually build a team that works, unlike building a team that should, in theory, on paper work, and then just doesn't. That being said, hella fucking props to Alola Mola. Also, this is the season that taught me maybe the most important lesson of all, and it's that I just need to stop drafting Sigilif. Like, I hate to say it, I hate to break the news to all the fucking CP Sentinels fans in chat, but I drafted Sigilif this season because I draft Sigilif, and it really offered me nothing that I didn't have anywhere else on the team. If I need that niche filled, absolutely Sigilif is what I'm going for, but I just can't move forward continuing to draft this thing every season when in situations where I've already drafted not around it. Yeah. I need to stop wasting that last slot on a Pokemon I already have somewhere else. Big sad. Let's talk Batila, though.
Batila was probably the most fun competitor to watch.
Very hype. Batila coming in from literally zero Pokemon knowledge since 1996.
Yeah, he played like Pokemon Red, and that's it.
Yes. Batila, I mean, I don't say this in a mean-spirited way. I say this in a way just to illustrate where he was starting out. He did not even know the Pokedex. Man's tried to draft a Qreatives Pokemon, Kerfluffle, and just...
Yeah, I still feel bad about that.
I thought it was so funny, but I think it just goes to illustrate how far he's come since then, because he did so much research and so much work into learning the game in the past, 8 weeks. It is insane. I know his score is 1-6, but frankly, several of those matches were very close, and Batila had a slightly more experience with things like knowing when to set up the trick room, not using fake out after you've been out for more than one turn, just like some basic rules that honestly even the best of us forget at sometimes, as if
you might not think it's impressive, but we literally sat him down and said, here's 900 things, learn them.
And he freaking did it. Freaking did it. I mean, his draft is pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Like, you can say, oh, well, he didn't have to learn all 900, he only had to learn, 160, because those were the mons in the actual draft. But no, he had to build a draft, and I don't think he had that much help. I think he had a little bit of help from Post, but this man's did just sit down with the entire dex and choose out 10 Pokemon, or I guess 9 Pokemon in Granbull, that, are actually pretty decent picks.
Yeah.
And that was really impressive. I don't know if Batila will be back, but if he comes back, I'm very, very excited to see how he progresses further. I definitely feel another OJ coming in. I'm just saying, Season 8, Batila champion. Let's go. Moving on into Eggpling. Eggpling, just consistent.
Just solid.
Yeah, consistently very, very solid quick ball player. has always been doing very well. I think he's made it to playoffs every season.
So,
Think so. And just, coming back in here with another good team, I will admit I was not a believer. I was not sold on the Sand team that he was building back when we started the season, but he's proved me wrong. This ended up being a good team.
yeah, it was really good.
As we were talking about, you totally expected, and I piggyback off of you on everything you say because you're my favorite Pokemon analyst, totally thought he was going to draft Zamazenta Crowned as his S tier, and he went for Darkrai and threw us for a loop, and it fucking paid dividends.
Yeah,
Darkrai
sure.
did super, super well from him.
I also said his best Pokemon's probably going to be Dracozolt. Not true at all.
With Dracozolt, I think it was a matter of people prepping for it very well because we said that.
Sure.
But I mean, a lot, just solid composition. Generally, pretty good. Sort of team sense and play sense from Eggpling. Hey, market improvement on turn times. He's actually, been playing faster. That's big hype.
Yeah.
And then you just sprinkle it a little bit of the luck playing flair every once and again, especially with that Garchomp. Holy shit! And you just end up with a player who is consistently always making the top of his division in a big way, and just really impressive. Egg, you know what you're doing. I don't have advice to give you. You just consistently. I would say Egg is one of the players that looks like he hasn't progressed at all because he's always sort of taking the same position each season, but I feel like that's not true because
that's not true.
As we've seen from everybody
everyone's
else,
getting better.
Yeah, because as we've seen from everybody else, everyone else in the league is improving. So the fact that Egg is consistently staying where he is at the top of Quick Ball each season means he's improving just as faster than everybody else.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so thank you, Egg, once again for a wonderful season. Now let's talk about Math Geek. So Math Geek here, another first seasoner here, ended up with an okay score, 3 and 4. Overall, I think the stats were a bit not as good. But that being said, I think Math has a better idea now of where his draft sort of messed up, as we've mentioned before. I
understand his gameplay coming into the draft, but I think he also learned that really what makes a good draft team is variety.
Yep.
Like, as we went on, we saw the reliance on Buzzwole and Kartana getting higher rather than all of the bulky B tiers.
Yep. For sure. Yeah, I think there were a couple of issues in draft, which totally makes sense for your first draft. Ended up drafting several of the same Pokemon a couple of times, and just really starting out the season trying to, do these wacky things that just don't pan out, and sort of as we move farther in, realizing that the tier system exists for a reason. And I think, as you said, sort of relying on these Pokemon in the back half more, which is good. Anything else? Any advice moving forward?
I think that was the bulk of it, yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. Alright, moving on into the Rad Batch here. So the Rad Batch, again, another completely new player here, has more familiarity with Pokemon than like Bateller. Like, he is at least familiar with them, but competitive knowledge also at an saying at an all-time low sounds really, really bad. That's not what I mean, but just no competitive knowledge coming into this. Look, I know that Cause ended up going 0-7, but I will say, in terms of what's what I'm looking for? In terms of not mood, but like he came out of every match and he's like, hey, I lost, and that's okay, still having fun, and just continued, and I respect that. I know this season that I struggled a little bit with keeping my morale up. And it's cool at the very least to see, aware that he is a new player, not letting it get to him, and I can respect that a lot.
Yeah,
That being
there's
said,
definitely research that needs to be done if he wants to improve. I don't know if he wants to.
yeah,
Of
that
course.
is completely a personal choice. It is the best advice we can give, I think, is you get out of competitive Pokemon and TDD what you put into competitive Pokemon and TDD. And if what you're putting in is, you're drafting the things that, you're familiar with and you like, and you're sort of, the type matchups, and you fight your matches, and, you don't let it get to you. If that's your strat, that's cool. That works for you. If you are looking to become the Season 10 champion of TDD, I do highly recommend reaching out, getting support from other players, looking at Smogon, sort of watching other people's matches before you actually fight somebody. Take a look at the previous people they fought, how they play, learning synergies rather than just type matchups. Learning, more mechanics about the base game, how speed tiers work, how priority works, just all these things. I think that a little bit of research is going to go a long way.
Because surprisingly, for this children's video game, competitive Pokemon is ridiculously complicated.
There's a lot to it, more than there frankly should be. But
Yeah.
really, I mean, what I would say here is I would say, because we had the two new players, we had Cosmoem and Batelor, who ended up fighting. And Batelor ended up winning that match, despite the fact that they had, very, very similar levels of just absolute inexperience. I think Batelor won that because Batelor went in with more prep.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think if Cause was to do some more of this prep and some more outreach and really learn the game past the very basics, I think there's definitely a lot of potential for them, just as well as Batelor. And
I don't even want to say that's easy, because it's not. Pokemon is so much more complicated than it has any right to be.
Oh god, for sure. Alrighty, next up we've got, what's there to say, man? I can't even give advice here.
Yeah, I mean, he just built a good team and won.
He built a good team. The dude knows how to play. I have nothing.
Yeah. It was a good season, Robert.
It's a great season for Meteor Bauer. The only seasons that Meteor Bauer has that aren't good are the ones where he builds a team that he's just goofing off.
There was literally only one.
Just season 2. Every other season, just absolute giga brain Chad. Knows exactly what his playstyle is. He loves that balance. He knows what Pokemon are good. He knows the synergies. And damn it, when the man gets into a match, he knows how to play. He knows how to go 6-0. No matter how painful it might be for the other person, he knows how to do it, and he will do it. And I can respect that.
Yeah.
You are, I would argue, the sort of, despite the season not always showing it, the closest thing like Meteor Bauer has to a rival in terms of being the best player in our draft league. So just as his sort of his lifelong rival. I don't know if you guys see each other that way, but I sort of see you two that way.
Misclick.
What?
I would have won this season if I didn't misclick.
Exactly right. So just that being said, what would you say based on your experience this season for Meteor Bauer? I know that he had a very good team. Maybe he doesn't have very many lessons learned, but what can you tell him from your experience to warn him for season 6?
I think he's the one that kind of snowballed Peanut's path of glory. Because he, goofed off a little bit in the first match because, they're good friends and they wanted to, make a meme team together.
For sure.
But then Nitesh just stomped him!
It took him out.
And nobody saw that coming!
Peanut loaded the shotgun, took him out back, and put him out of his misery. And then Meteor Bauer came back in a big way.
Coming. Yeah.
Yep, for sure. Alrighty. Okay, just a few left. Garlic Co. coming back after a season away. Last time he played, he was in Quick Ball, and he made it to the top of Quick Ball, and he made it, was it all the way to semis? No, he was all the way to finals, right?
Yeah.
He made it all the way to finals.
3.
Ended up getting second place overall in the season. So this season he came back, ended up, found himself in Timer. And I think just like Post, made a good name for himself. I will say, and this is nothing against either player, I think in terms of the two players, I was more impressed by sort of Post's improvement, but I think that's more so just because with Ko, I didn't have as many, like, I didn't know what the expectations to set were, because I hadn't really seen him play at all since the quick ball stuff, right? Whereas Post has sort of been a continuous improvement that we've been watching. So when Ko came back and he just sort of stomped heads a couple of times, I was like, okay, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah.
I think the team wasn't the best. I think he had a decent team. I think there was some stuff here that suffered a little bit. I think Clefairy ended up being more of a detriment to him this season, despite how important it was in Season 3.
Yeah, it was interesting to watch. Like, I felt like his team just got kind of rolled by offense, but the win-loss record doesn't really indicate that.
Yeah, stats don't lie. Yeah, he won a fair number of matches. Very good. Ended up 4th in the season, which, I mean, this is sort of a, like, it's not a mean thing. God, how many times have I had to in this video sort of indicate that I'm not trying to be a jackass? But I think it is always tough to gauge when somebody moves from quick ball into timer ball because of, you know, good performance in quick ball and in playoffs, how good they're gonna do, because it is, frankly, it is kind of two different worlds, and I think we've seen that. Timer ball is fucking sweaty as hell.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
matches there are always so close. Like, if you don't put in an immense amount of prep, you just fucking get rolled. In quick ball, I think things are a lot, you know, more lax to some degree. And so with Ko, there was that question when he moves up, was his performance in Season 3 just because he was just outclassing a lot of the quick ball players, or was he genuinely, like, you know, this really good player? And I think his clear sort of holding his ground here in timer ball really does prove that we just simply mistiered him last time.
Yeah.
So very good from Ko. Any advice moving forward if we see him back again in Season 7? I'm assuming he's taking next season off just because he was here for 3.
I don't know, maybe.
Odd seasons. No.
I don't know. Not really.
All right.
Your team confused me, but it kind of worked.
Yeah. Alrighty. 2 left. We got Blue Angels, Whiskey Tattoo. This was one of the players I had my eye on in Quick Ball this season. I thought Whiskey was going to do quite well. I thought Whiskey had a real damn good shot at playoffs, and damn it, I was right. I'm always right about everything.
Yeah, Whiskey was another one like Bateler that was very fun to watch throughout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He didn't turn up in many recaps, but usually because matches happen on Sunday.
Matches happen very late on Sunday, right, exactly. That being said, I mean, he definitely had a couple of really, really awesome matches. Versus PLKJ was a huge one. Versus Stormy Sunshine was a huge one. Those were 2 absolutely fantastic matches from him.
His understanding of momentum and understanding of what the opponent's win cons were, I feel like that's what improved the most.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I think he built a team that synergized quite well.
Yeah.
As the season started, give ourselves a pat on the back here. We noted that with Rayquaza and Heatran that Suicune was going to be a really important sort of stopgap for those two. And it fucking was.
Yeah.
I mean, Suicune just absolutely dominated, and he absolutely used it how he needed to. Rotom Mo, Hitmontop, and Comfey all playing exactly like they needed to. Fantastic use of the B tiers. Not great use of the C tiers. Some of them were, you know, not his fault, namely Durant. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'm really sorry about
that. That is an unfortunate circumstance of what using Durant sometimes looks like. But
frankly,
also,
when your C tiers don't come much, that means you built a
it just means you built a really good core. Exactly. That's what I was getting to. The C tier sort of, you know, not the best, but didn't frickin' matter because you only need to bring 6 Pokemon to a match.
Yeah.
And if your top 6 are fucking fantastic, boom, you did it. Great job to Whiskey. Really looking forward to seeing how you do in playoffs this season. And then finally, I guess, do you have any advice?
No.
Yeah, just sort of learning the win cons. Good job there.
Go on this ball. It's going the right direction.
Yes. Keep that momentum going, my dude. And finally, Stormy Sunshine. Stormy has had her ups and downs with TDD. I think she's had seasons where she's really shown off that she's, quite a strong player in quick ball. And then I think she's had some seasons where just it kind of momentum went in the wrong direction from the beginning. And I think this season was another good, really great showing for Stormy that just sort of, I hope, gives her the confidence she needs to continue building very good teams here.
It was really interesting because a lot of what she planned on draft failed, but her record is good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty solid.
It just shows like a drastic improvement in adaptability more than anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Stormy ended up being very close to making it to playoffs. Did not quite make it. But regardless of that, I think sort of, having that trick room, not relying on it, sort of playing into each match very well. I think better prep from Stormy than we have seen in the past. And just honestly, very, very... I think it really comes down to a Stormy confidence boost. I know sometimes after matches she can get down in the mouth about stuff, but not letting that get to you, sort of staying positive. I think taking a cue from someone like Cause, staying positive, and just coming back the following week and giving it your all again. I think as far as it comes down to it in skill, I think Stormy is in the running for top side of quick ball. So I think if you just manage to keep that morale up, manage to keep those good decisions coming out, keep that ball rolling, very easily Stormy could make it to playoffs. Season 6, Stormy Sunshine champion.
There's a lot of those.
Yeah. Next season playoffs are going to be fucking wild. Fucking wild. Anyways, that is all we have for you. Do you have any final thoughts about Season 5? If you don't, that's okay. It's been a tough season for you and me.
Yeah. I should probably take a season off if I'm that burnt out, but the final match of the season was invigorating, at least.
That's hype. I think I don't know if there will be an off season this season. If there is, I might not participate. That being said, we have about a year until, I guess less than a year at this point, probably about 9 months until Gen
6 months until it comes out, I think.
Yeah, 6 months until it comes out, and then probably closer to 9 for everything to be properly implemented on Showdown, for us to do tiers and everything. I think by that point...
we gotta find all the hidden mechanics, we gotta wait for Showdown to have models, there's a lot that goes.
There's a lot of stuff for that. I think sort of spring 2023 we'll be back on the horse. I think we'll be ready again, I believe.
Yeah, and a new generation always breathes life into Pokemon.
Yeah, I think this gen is the first time that we've really had no new changes whatsoever from the previous one.
Yeah.
From the previous season. So that'll be great. Anyways, we will be back next week with the quarterfinals. But until then, I have been Technovoid. This has been Hamsterwings, and we will see you all next season, I guess. Sort of.
Well, in playoffs.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.